Toyota with a manual transmission. This is the repair for the reverse light switch. If you have a Toyota with a manual transmission and your reverse lights are not illuminating when you shift into reverse, and you know that your light bulbs are both good, or let's say it's getting finicky, sometimes they'll light up, sometimes they won't, your problem may be the reverse light switch. It's a mechanical device on the top of the transmission. It's very easy to repair. The vehicle you'll see in the video is a 2006 Toyota Matrix two-wheel drive with the 5-speed transmission. This is the Toyota part number, and Toyota wants about $46 for that, but I'll put up some aftermarket part numbers because they're much cheaper and they get good reviews. They're about $20. And if we roll down here, we can see what this fits tab. This fits a lot of models. It fits over 1,000 vehicle variants. All the way back, you can see there, to the 1980s. If your vehicle is on this list, there's a pretty good chance that this will be the same repair. You might find the switch on the side, depending on your transmission. You might find the switch on the side. On this Matrix, you're going to find it on the top, you'll see. And depending on what's in your way, you might have to come up with a slightly different setup, but the bench testing and whatnot will be the same. This is the 1.8 liter 1ZZFE engine in this Matrix, also the same one in the Corolla, and probably a few other Toyotas and maybe some Scions. And that there is the backup light switch. You can see the electrical on it. In my case here, this switch, I've already tested it and found that the problem is the switch. Both of my reverse lights are out, and it was also acting a little finicky. Like when I put it in reverse, sometimes they light up, sometimes they wouldn't light up, and now they're not lighting up at all. So I'll show you how to test this. You're going to reach in here. You don't have to remove any parts. Just press this. Might have to kind of wiggle it to get it up. Just going to pull straight up. Don't break it. And in here, you can see we've got two contacts. I'm just going to stick a paper clip in there and jump that, and then we'll see if our lights come on. I just have a paper clip here that I bent into that shape, and I'm just going to push it in, have the key out of the ignition. I'm just going to push it in like so. Let me see if you can get it so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Okay, just push it in one side until it's grabbing on there nicely, and then I'll go on the other side. Okay. Alright, just like that. Now, make sure that's floating up there. Not that it's not touching down like this. Just leave it like that. Now we'll go put the key in the ignition. We don't have to go into reverse. We'll just put the key in the ignition, turn it to the on position, and see if the reverse lights illuminate. And with the key in the on position, I now have reverse lights, which is great. So I know that my problem is the switch. So back up here, I will just go ahead. You want to take the key out of the ignition first, and I'll just go ahead and pull this paper clip out of here, and we'll go ahead and get to changing out this switch. I'll show you two different ways to get in there depending on the tools that you have. First way here, I'll use a 27mm deep socket, and I'll go in this way because if you have a 27mm deep socket, this hose is going to be in the way as far as going up with extensions, but if you have a flex head like this, it will be able to get on. So let's give this a shot here, and then when it comes time to put it back on, I'll try a shallow socket from above. Let's see if I can get this in here. There we go. Okay. So we break this free. There it is. We'll go ahead and get this out now. There's going to be a washer on this. You want to make sure you get that washer out as well. And there's a washer on there. So we'll take this out. I have a multimeter here, and I'm in ohms resistance. And I'm just going to check these two switches. I'll check the new one first and then the old one to see what kind of values you might be looking for if you're doing some diagnostics. I'm just going to put this onto that little contact there. I might slip this down a little bit more. Let's see, just get on there like that. Make sure I have a good connection there. And same deal on that one. Okay, doesn't matter which one goes on. It's just it's resistance. So, all right. So make sure you're not touching here. As you can see, it's not touching because on the meter we're open. So now I'm going to go ahead and push the switch down with my finger and see what kind of change in resistance value we get. Here we go. goes to very low resistance. You know, if I let it up, you can see the resistance is increasing as I slowly let it up. If I just go a little bit, and go all the way down. Alright, so that's our new switch. Let's see what we have on our old switch. Same deal. Just going to go on those little contacts. Okay. Make sure I'm not touching there. I'm good. Now, let's see what we get here. Ooh, this one's so much harder to push down. Here's my other finger. Alright, I got it pushed all the way down. And that, as you can see, it's a lot more resistance. If I just come up a little bit, it's getting a value that's much higher than what we had here. So take that as confirmation that this switch indeed was the problem. So we'll go ahead and swap in the new switch. Now make sure, again, that when you pull your old switch out, that you retrieve this gasket or crush washer. It's aluminum crush washer. You don't want to double stack them. So here's our new one. It comes with a new, this is the one that I got from Advance Auto. And there's the part number. Where is it? Right there. And this is labeled as a Carquest item on their website, so supposedly it has a lifetime warranty. Real quickly though, while I have it on the bench, I did want to show you what I was talking about with the deep socket versus the shallow socket. The deep socket is nice because it gets all the way on there without any interference from this part, because there's nothing for it to touch. So you can get all the way on there. The shallow socket, because it's not so tall, this is going to interfere there at the square drive, so you can't quite get on there as well. Still get a pretty good bite though. I'm going to go ahead and try to use this. We'll see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll go back to the deep socket, but try to find different solutions because I know not everybody has the same tools. So now we'll try to go in with this to install it. Okay, so with the new switch, again, make sure you got that washer on there. Hold on to the washer so you don't drop it. Just going to go ahead and put this back in. And I'll go easy so I make sure that I'm not cross-threading. Yeah, it feels good. I'll back off. Yeah, it's good. It's not cross-threaded. See if I can get that on there a little bit before I come in with the socket. I got that turned in by hand as much as I can, so I'll grab the socket now. And again, the deep socket we already know will work, but I'm going to try to use the shallow socket. So I'm going to move the camera up here for an overhead shot to show you what you might need to do if all you have is a shallow socket. What I'm going to try to do is get the square drive on that plastic part of the plug in just the right way where I can get the most bites. So what I mean is, let me reach my hand this way. You can see there, it's not going to get on all the way because of that plastic part, but if I turn this socket to just the right spot, I'll be able to get a better bite with the shallow socket. Let's see. There we go, right there. Okay, there we go. There's a closer look there. You can see how the plastic part is kind of a little tiny bit into the square drive, and then with that like that, I can get a better bite on that with this shallow socket. There's that socket on there. I'm going to go in with a step down since I'm going to come in with some 3/8 extensions because they're thinner. So if you're using that shallow socket and you don't have a flex head ratchet and you need to come up top like this, you can see on this model anyway, you can get around this radiator hose. You just got to push out of your way and come up high enough that you can get your ratchet in there. Okay, I got my torque wrench up top here, and I'm at 30 foot-pounds, but like I said, if we can keep kind of watch it, and you'll see it's not going to move much. Do you remember when we broke it free? There it is right there. So if you don't have a torque wrench, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just get it all the way down, and then as soon as you get that resistance, just get it snug. Let's make sure I didn't accidentally crush anything. Didn't, so it looks good. So looks like you can either use a 27mm shallow socket like this Craftsman one, which you can get for like $6 at Lowe's, or you can use the deep socket with a flex head or maybe a shorter ratchet this way. As far as getting a 27mm wrench on there, there's not a lot of room. I think you'd have to remove a couple things. So what I would do would be, if all you have is a wrench, I would remove this fastener back here. Looks like that's a 12mm maybe. and get this bracket out of the way, get this ground out of the way, and then try to get in there with a wrench. I don't think you could really get a crescent wrench in on there because it's real tight on that side, but maybe you could. New switch is in then, so I'll just go ahead and plug this back in. That electrical, here it is. And just push it in until it snaps. Only going to fit one way. Snap. Alright, that's in there. Now, we'll go in reverse and see if we get reverse lights. If you saw the diagnostic part of the video in the beginning, you remember that when we put the key in and put it to the on position, with that jumped, we didn't have to go into reverse, but I'll go ahead and go into reverse now since we have the whole circuit closed with the new switch. Let's see what we get. Reverse lights. Hooray! One other thing I'll mention is I have this dash cam deal here. It's a mirror that you put over the mirror, and then it's got the screens on there. And the bigger screen right here is the forward facing. You can see the hood, and that is the rear facing. The way that one of the ways you can hook this up is you can tie it into the wire to the reverse lights, so that there's a signal that gets sent to the module to change the screen from this being little to being big. I'll just show you here when I go into reverse. Right, like that. So that's the rear view camera that's on right now. You come out of reverse, it'll go back forward. That's only going to work if your switch is working, and that was another thing that was getting finicky. The same thing was happening. This was getting finicky, obviously, at the same time as the backup lights, and the reason why was the switch. So that's it on this Toyota manual transmission backup light switch. Very easy repair that is a great way to save some money. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your repair.